Hello, 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 everybody. Hi. So, my name is Eve. This is Eve's Creations Paint Party, and this is How To Tuesday. What? So, tonight's going to be a Q&A session, all right? Ask any questions you'd like. Hopefully, I can answer them for you. I am a self-taught painter. I've been painting for, 30 years or something like that, long time. So, I will try my best. I'm also going to cover different styles of painting, like how am I painting? What is this? And I'm also going to cover all sorts of techniques that you can do with your painting. So the supplies this evening is pretty much a little everything. I'm going to pour my paint. I'm going to have brushes ready. If I show you an example, I'll let you know what I'm using. A lot of it's going to be me and my mouth, but I hope you gain some information out of this and you can apply it to your own creations. So, hello, Tina. Hello. So, let me know if you're hanging out with me tonight, and we'll get this started. So, every question is a good question. There are no dumb questions. The only dumb question that there is one that you don't ask. Okay? So, make sure that you're asking your questions. I did a how-to a previous week, but the comments weren't working, so I missed a lot of your questions. So hopefully tonight we'll be able to get to all of them. Hi, Tina. Hi, Margaret. Hello, everybody. So I'm going to put you guys in your handy-dandy holder, even though there's nothing to look at. Hi, Wendy. And, we'll get this party started, all right? Hi, Tammy. Hello. So let me write all your names down here. And we can do roll call of everyone hanging out with us. We got Tina and Margaret in the house. And Wendy is here. Hello, guys. How's everybody doing? And Tammy hanging out. I didn't miss you this time, Tammy. I got you, girl. I got you. Hi, Amy. How you doing, sweetheart? Hello. Hi, Tina M. Both Tinas in the house. Hello. That's what I'm talking about. You told somebody the same thing about, yeah, I know. Sometimes you're afraid to ask a question, but you know what? I got to a point in my life, I never asked for help, ever. I always thought I could figure it out on my own, or maybe I was less than because I didn't know something. And, I've just come to a point in my life where asking is so much easier. It really is. And it's okay not to know. You're learning. And learning is one of the highest things that you can do as a human being, is to learn. We all learn. We could all learn no matter how old we are. There's always something to learn. Hello, Kim. How you doing, sweetheart? Yep, no pressure here, love. No pressure here. Absolutely none. We are all family style in this place. So, hopefully I can show you a few things tonight and you'll be able to use them. All right, so I'm going to put you in a handy-dandy holder, even though there's nothing to look at. And I want to pour some paint just in case I show you an example of some stuff. I have some of my artwork to show you from, to show you some examples of what I'm talking about. I put some of my artwork on deck, and they're all different sizes, so there might be a little bit of maneuvering with the maneuvering with the camera, but that's all right. That's okay. So I'm going to put the same colors on my palette as always, right? We always work with the same colors every single week: yellow, red, white, blue, and black. So I'm going to throw them on a palette real quick just in case I have to show you an example. I will have my paint ready. All right, so Tina posted a very So Tina posted a very important question about what are the different types of styles of painting, and more importantly, figuring out I look very large from this angle with you guys in your holder. There we go. So, there's lots of different styles of painting. And it started way back when art started, right? So, I actually have a sheet I have a little cheat sheet that I wrote up for myself a long time ago when I was learning about the different styles of painting. So, the first one that is pretty famous is, I'm not going to go over all of them. There's over 100 styles of painting, guys. So, it's all good, and it's all inclusive. So, the first one is Cubism. Now, some of you may have heard of Cubism, some of you may have not. Cubism is what Picasso did. So, Cubism is using, depicting things using geometric interlocking shapes. So, basically, you know, he made his people with lots of squared off angles and edges, and you could see triangles and squares and everything in the artwork. So, Cubism is basically using geometrical shapes to create whatever you're creating. All right, pretty straightforward, not much there. I have, hold on, let me go grab it. I'll be right back. So, way back when, I did a Picasso selfie video. And I showed everybody how to paint themselves in a style that Picasso would do. So, here you go. Here's some Cubism. All right, everything is geometric shapes. You see triangles there, you see a triangle here, you know, there's a square going on right here. So that is Cubism. So if any of you want to make your own Picasso selfie, does it look like me? I think it kind of does. Anybody want to make their own Picasso selfie, the replay is available on my page. And I think I posted it once as a flashback. So, there you go. There's an example of Cubism. Da, 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 da. Yes. And if you guys have any questions, interrupt me. Because this is your Q&A. And it doesn't have to be about what I'm talking about. I just figured we'd start with a particular subject. Because it was in my comments by Tina to go over it. All right. Pretty cool, right, Tina B? Yeah, I think it's kind of cool. It's definitely a different style to way to... I'll try to get my mouth working. Oh, regards to my mouth, all my videos are kid-friendly, so we're going to try to make this behave, and you guys behave on your comments. You keep staring and stopping. Is anyone having the same problem? I hope not, Margaret, because this happened last time with people asking questions. So I hope it's all working the way it should. All right, another one I want to talk about is Fauvism. All right, great. F-A-U-V-I-S-M. Fauvism is using what they call, hi Wendy, using what they call painterly qualities, which I was talking about the long-handled brushes and getting more painterly look, right? That's kind of like, you know, using... bold brush strokes and all that kind of stuff. Well, and you use strong color. So you guys have seen me do Fauvism. We did Fauvism. Remember when I covered tone and using different colors for things? So you can, I do a lot of Fauvism. So basically, instead of having the generic colors, hi Deb! Hi, Wendy. You missed the pick. You missed the Cubism pick? All right. I got to go grab it again. Hold on. So, Cubism was this pick. I don't have a pick for Fauvism. You're just going to have to, I couldn't find one. So you're just going to have to listen to me talk about it. So, this was the Cubism. Okay. Hello, Deb. All right. So that's the Cubism. Cubism selfie. And Fauvism is basically, you're not using the generic colors for things. So you could turn around and paint a tree instead of painting a tree green, right? You could turn around and make a, see, that was a bad example because trees come in every color, especially this time of year. So how about a sky? Like instead of painting a sky like blue, right? You could turn around and paint a sky in greens. It's basically just setting a tone or a mood depending on the colors you pick. And we did cover that all when I did the color wheel and everything else. So, hello Alicia, how you doing? Thank you for that advice, Alicia. I hope that helps you out. So we got Alicia and Deb in the house. All right, so that's Fauvism. Another style is Pointillism, which you will never see me do, because I think you have to be a certain sort of special to do Pointillism. Yes, Fauvism, F-A-U-V-I-S-M. And Tina, you do touch on Fauvism a lot. Fauvism is nice. You can have fun playing with your colors. You don't have to worry about doing the generic colors that everybody does. Hi, Alicia. You got it, Tina B. That's it, Fauvism. So another style is Pointillism. I'll never do it. You'll never see me do it. You gotta... Is a swan in my bird tutorial? I don't remember. You're welcome, Tina B. I don't remember, Deb. I don't remember if I covered a swan or not, to tell you the truth. We did do, but I will write it down on a how-to just to make sure. So somebody that watches my how-to on birds, let me know if I covered a swan. And if I didn't, I could always do a how-to on birds again and make sure I include a swan. All right? So I wrote that down. I wrote it down, Deb. Hello, Deborah. How you doing, sweetheart? So, the next one is, I was talking about Pointillism. Pointillism is really simple. It's just what it says. It's creating everything with a point. So you use all these different dots to create a picture. You'll never see me do it. But you're doing a fair. That's okay. Fair works. Fair works. George Seurat did the Pointillism. That's the most famous painter. S-E-U-R-A-T. Seurat. All right. Whew. I need a sip. I need a sip. Hi, Shamim. Woo-wee. Talking a lot. Hello, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. All right. So now I'm going to talk about Impressionism. Most of you do Impressionism. A lot of people mistake Impressionism with abstract. It's two different things, and everybody that tries to paint something and it doesn't come out realistically, bleh, always want to call it abstract. That's not what abstract is, okay? So I'm gonna go over what abstract is, but let me cover. Yes, works kind of like the ones where they make pictures from smaller pics. Yes, Tina, yes. So Impressionism is painting something, and you're not painting it realistically to where you're getting every fine little detail. Basically, you're painting something, and it's how the colors and light dance off of each other. All right, so I have a few examples of Impressionism. I'll show you. Okay, so a lot of people mistake abstract with Impressionism. 99% of you are doing yes and feelings. It creates a feeling, it emotes a feeling. So 99% of you are doing Impressionism, but for some reason you like to call it abstract. And that's not what abstract is. So this little guy right here is an example of Impressionism. Okay? So Fauvism is an example of Impressionism. So this tiny little guy right here is Impressionism. And the reason I say that is because I see where the colors and light dance off of the jar. It's not a realistic jar. You can tell it's a jar, but it's not realism because it doesn't look exactly like a glass would. And I'm basically showing how the colors and light play off of it. Another thing you notice is my flowers, right? They are not extremely detailed, right? They're not realism, but you can tell what they are. You can tell that they're flowers. And see how I have the colors and light play off of the flowers, and especially in the foliage, right? You know this is foliage, but it's not exactly the way foliage looks. So this is an example of Impressionism. This is basically showing something not realistic, but showing how light and color and everything else dances on an object. And it usually makes you feel some sort of something. All right? So, everybody lock that in. So, whenever you're painting anything and it doesn't look realistic, but you can tell what it is, and you have lights and color playing off of itself, that's Impressionism. That's like 99% of what you guys do. This is another one. This is another one that's Impressionism. Okay? So, a lot of people would call this abstract. A lot. So let me, I'm being anal because it's on its side and it's supposed to go this way. So, this, right. Well, frustration shouldn't be what you're feeling, Kim. Yes, so gives the impression of what it is. Exactly, you got it. So this is Impressionism. You guys can tell that they're flowers, but I'm not using crazy detail to show realism in the flowers. It's just splashes of color. All right, so this is another sample of Impressionism. Right. Well, basically, a lot of the tutorial you want to do with you want me to show you how to paint a style. Hello. So you guys want an because I used to do I did Dali and I did Picasso. So I'm writing that on the wrong list. So you want an Impressionism painting as a paint party. Got you. And a lot of what we already done is an Impressionism type paint party. So, now you can combine techniques also. So you can have Cubism and Impressionism. All right, so an example of Cubism and Impressionism. You like that one, Wendy? Thank you. All right, so an example of Cubism and Impressionism would be something like this. Okay? So, I'm getting the pops of color. I'm getting the way the light dances on the clouds. But my leaves are rectangles. My leaves are rectangles. So, that is a combination effect. All right, guys? That's what that is. So, you don't have, you can mix styles. Totally interchangeable. All right? Now, then you have what you call abstract. Then you have what you call abstract. Not to interrupt, sorry, but you have looked into the double exposure I suggested. Ask other thoughts on that, not pushing just for mine. Yes, Kim, I'll talk about that. All right, so then now you guys all know what realism, right, is. That realism is making something look real, like the way you would see it in real life, right? So everybody, a lot of you are striving for realism. Don't put yourself through that kind of torture. So I'm telling you right now, you don't have to have something look exactly the way it would look in real life to be a good artist. In fact, artistry, as the way I view it, is something that you guys already said about creating an emotion in somebody, having movement on the canvas, having textures, having colors dance. Yes, are there artists that do hyper-realism and realistic paintings and the things look exactly the way they look in real life? 6,000%. Are you going to drive yourself nuts as a beginner trying to capture that? 6,000%. So everybody's going to come, you all come into your own style. I have a lot of different styles. That's why I can show you a lot of different examples of what I'm talking about. Because I'm all over the map. I'm all over the map. Yes, don't give yourself the stress of perfection. All right? We don't want the stress of perfection. Not at all. Okay? So, but one thing that I incorporate of my soul that's in every single painting is bright colors. Everything is very bright. In fact, it's very hard for me to paint in pastel and to paint in black and white. When I paint in color, everything flows. So when you're painting something and you're just like in the flow and you're lost and you're just enjoying yourself, that is your spirit telling you your style. That's right, Cynthia. Art isn't perfect. And that's what makes it art. And that's what makes it amazing. It's the imperfections in things that make things special, including you guys and me as a person. So if we all walked around like the Stepford wives, it'd be a pretty boring world. Okay? So let's keep that in mind. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is abstract. Now, everybody likes to use this word because they try to paint something that doesn't look real, and they automatically want to call it abstract. That's not what abstract is. Abstract is using colors and line and form and composition to create a painting. Yes, exactly. It is subjective, Cynthia. Art is subjective. It's all based on the individual. But abstract does not mimic or even give a hint of anything in this world at all. So, and I see people misuse this term constantly. In fact, it's one of my little pet peeves. Can you tell I'm getting aggravated? I'm getting aggravated in my tone. Because I've seen way too many people use Impressionism. Use abstract to explain their painting because they couldn't get it to look real. Abstract is a painting of colors, line, composition, all sorts of stuff like that, that does not depict anything real. All right, so I have to bring you all the way back. Yes, because I'm an art snob. I have no idea what my style is closer to Impressionism. I look at my paintings, they're colorful and happy and fun, which is why I want to express giving the viewer feel-good emotions. Exactly, Kim. So this sucker is huge, right? That's how big it is. So this is a very large painting. It's very large. And this is abstract. Just to be a little bit of a snob, because you guys are going to give me that allowance because you're my fam. This painting landed in the Monmouth Museum International Show. So this painting, ta-da, me, was picked to be in an international gallery show at a museum, and this is one of the paintings that they picked. So I'm going to bring it up close now so you can see all the details in it. This is abstract. This is what abstract is. It does not even come close to depicting anything that is real. It is simply creating a composition using line, color, and all sorts of shapes, all sorts of things like that. Okay? So that's why I get annoyed when somebody calls something abstract when it's not. It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. Pollock, thank you, Wendy. Pollock is a pretty famous Impressionism. Everyone's seen Pollock's paintings. They're really cool. And I think I just said the wrong word myself. So he is a well-known painter of doing abstract work. So if you want to look up some really amazing abstract pieces, Pollock is pretty famous for that. Pretty famous. So I'll show you one more. That is abstract. And you'll get the idea. Because this one I like because I called it Everywhere or Nowhere. And the reason I called it that is because it doesn't have a focal point. There's no focal point. There's no spot where your eye settles. And it is completely abstract. And the light is creating all these weird shadows on it. But that's okay. Alright, that is okay. So, there's another example of abstract. Alright? Then, a lot of you have done pop art. Tina did pop art. We did pop art when we did the soup cans. So, the soup cans is a nod to Andy Warhol. And pop art is using different items that are recognized among the masses. That's why Warhol did soup cans a lot, right? And pop art also comes, you know, you use bright colors. Tina, when you did your monsters, that was pop art. Yep, doing pores, Deborah. Pores is like a whole other animal. It has become so famous and liked. Pores would definitely fall into the abstract boat. So yeah, when you did your monsters, so it's basically it's really close to graphic art, and a lot of you do graphic art too. I do graphic art when you use really bold colors and really distinct lines to create a shape. All right, like we did with the soup cans. Like we do whenever I do like a cartoon looking picture. Okay, whenever I do something that is outlined in black and is one solid pop of color, that is all being graphic. Some of you paint in that style. Some of you paint in the graphic art style. I've seen it. So if you do something that is like a cartoon or like a comic strip, or like I have to put my hair up because it's really annoying me. I did wear it down, but it's going up. Any of you that do something that is cartoon style, looks like a comic book drawing, you know, you have very bold colors, and, you know, usually you have it outlined. That is what you'd call graphic art. And then if it's of an image that's known throughout the masses, and you're just playing around with the colors, painting it different ways, then that would be graphic art. All right, so that is all the styles of painting that I am going to go over with you. All right, so now Kim mentioned, which I'm going to do for the fall, she mentioned a double negative. So that would be a picture and a picture. So that would be like having a pumpkin shape and then painting another picture inside of it. So Kim gave me that idea. Thank you so much for that idea, Kim. So come Thanksgiving time, we're going to do a painting like that. So we're going to do a painting inside of a picture. Okay? And she called that a double negative, which I guess sounds pretty cool. I never heard of it. I've seen those paintings, I never knew what it was called. So thank you, Kim. Thank you for that. So now I want to get into, now that you all know what different styles you have, okay, and know how you paint, like I said, if it's something that just flows out of your body and you're having fun with it and you're lost in your painting, that's your style. All right? And yes, you can learn how to make things look better or make things look the way that looks in real life and all of that. You can totally learn, you know, learn different techniques and whatnot to hone in or be able to create something that you want it to look a certain way. There's nothing wrong with that. But when it leads to frustration and disappointment in yourself, then don't do it. Right? I do it too. I try to get things perfect, or I want it to look a certain way and it's just not working out and I get totally frustrated, but it's not necessary. So Deb says, I'm always afraid to do too much outlining. My hands are a bit shaken. I have a hard time making thin lines. Mr. Nifty helps a lot. Well, I'm glad Mr. Nifty helps a lot. And I'm glad Mr. Nifty helps a lot. And to overrun your shake, move faster. Okay, the faster you move your hand, the more you're going to outrun your shake and the cleaner your line is going to be. Getting lost for hours while painting is the best feeling. 6,000%, Cynthia. Absolutely. Okay, so now I'm going to go over different types of techniques. And like I said, guys, if you have any questions about anything, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be about what I'm talking about. This is your Q&A. This is your time to ask me anything. So you can interrupt me all you want. I'm just babbling over here. I'm just giving a little insight to different things, helping you kind of find your way. All right? So if you have a question about something, 6,000% ask me. Okay. So, techniques. Techniques. There's 100 million different techniques. I don't know if there's that many. How long have I been painting? Deb, I've been painting off and on for about 30 years. I started when I was 12 years old. I took a hiatus in my my late 20s, something like that. I kind of moved away from doing art for, you know, about 6 years or so. And then I started painting again. So basically, I have been painting for about 30 years. About 30 years. I lost one of my Mr. Nifty's. Bristles fell out. I guess when I know bristles, just a stick. Hi, Kelly. That's why, Deborah, I send out Mr. Nifty's with every single tip, every single support you guys send me, because they are tricky little suckers. Somebody lost them down their sink. Tina's cats played with hers. Hello, 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 Melissa. Welcome to the fam, hon. Everyone, welcome Melissa to the family. Hello, Melissa. Hi, Kelly. You're just in time to hear about technique. I just went over styles, and now we're going to do technique. So every single time you send me support, because it is always free to watch, tips are appreciated. Thank you for that bridge. I'm going to post those links now. So, that way you guys have them. Thank you so much. And, yep, you lost one down the sink, Melissa. That was me. Down the drain it went. Diane. Oh, yes. He is a trickster, Mr. Nifty. He's so small and tiny, you lose him all the time. Hi, sweetheart. All right, so I'm going to go over techniques. And then maybe I'll show you some examples and actually paint something tonight. So, now, it's called Impasto. Impasto, I-M-P-A-S-T-O, is when you paint really, really, really thick. So impasto painting is when you put paint, and you can use different mediums. They have a gel medium that makes things come out impasto. It's when you paint really, 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 really thick. So an example of impasto. An example of impasto would be on this painting and that flower painting I just showed you. So if you look at this painting, you can see very, very, very thick paint. A lot of people do flowers in impasto, right? So you can see the very thick paint on here. I don't know if you could see, like, I could show you. So I wind up painting impasto because I get impatient, and then I just slap thick paint on top of it, and because I don't want blending to happen. So impasto, which is here, it's on the roof. It's you know, a lot of people, you can use the palette knife to paint impasto. You can turn around and there's gel mediums to paint impasto. So it's a very, very, very fancy word on painting very thick. So my flower painting I just showed you is impasto. This one is impasto. You can see the thickness of the paint on here. Okay, so it's a very fancy word for painting very, very thick with very thick paint. Okay, so now on the other end of the spectrum, which we have done in a couple of my how-tos, on the other end of the spectrum is called glazing. Glazing is when you paint very, very thin. So yes, Kim, I cover palette knives and the how-tos a lot. I don't do it during my paint parties because I want everybody, I've been using the same supplies with my paint parties ever since I started. And I want everybody to be able to paint with me, and not everybody has a palette knife. But I do use the palette knife during my how-tos to show you how to do different things with them. So maybe I'll do a palette knife special one paint party, but we'll see. So glazing, we did glazing when I did the how-to on fire. All right, so I'm just gonna swirl tap that big boy here. And glazing is basically putting very thin coats of color. Okay, so glazing is pretty much what a lot of us do. And you are just putting a very thin coat of paint. Whoop! I didn't lock this into place. You're still trying to figure out how to use your palette knives. Yes, so just play. All I can tell you is the best way to figure out your palette knife is to play. Play, 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 play. That's all you do. So that is glazing. Basically a very, very, very thin coat of paint. Now, we've done glazing where I've painted things in white and then we glazed over it with the reds and the yellows. Okay, you use that for painting glass windows. Yep, and you're still trying to use your palette knife. So they are fun to create with. So using the palette knife, you get the impasto effect, and I mean, I do go over them. Maybe I'll do a how-to palette knife. You guys want a how-to? We could do a how-to palette knife. That'll work. Where we do a whole thing on just using our palette knives. I'll write that one down too. Okay, guys, so you want a how-to on just palette knives? And I'll show you what I know. Okay, so we can totally do that. So this is glazing, and then impasto would be, like I said, just very thick paint. So that would be Impasto, and this would be Glazing. And then, yes, please. Okay, so I'll totally do that. I just wrote it on the list, Deb. So Impasto, Glazing. That's the difference between those two things. Okay, one is very, very thick, and the other one is barely there. So that is the difference between those two things. Now, there is something called using discrete or distinct brush strokes. All right. Yeah, no worries. I got you guys. No worries. Just ask. I do not have ESP. That is for sure. So, when you use discrete or distinct brush strokes, what that means is you're putting brush strokes on, but they do not blend into anything else. Okay? So, when you're doing, I'm just going to flatten this out so it doesn't dry thick. And I have this big thick part on this canvas here, so when I paint over it, it won't dry. So, distinct or discrete brush strokes is just that. You're using brush strokes, but they don't mix in or layer into anything. So basically, when your paint is dry, you would do distinct brush strokes. So all that is that they don't blend into anything else. Now, I don't know if this blue is dry enough, but basically you would put brush strokes on and you're not blending them together. You see artist paint, and it seems like I have to go back to reload my brush way off, and then the artist, what am I doing differently? Cynthia, basically you're probably just not putting enough paint on the brush, or maybe the paint you're using isn't of the same quality as the artist, so it doesn't have much stretch to it. Like acrylic paint, you know, like I covered in supplies. If you're using craft paint doesn't have any stretch to it. And by stretch means you can't move it around a lot. Like once you put it on, it's there, and you got to grab more. When regular tube acrylic paint has stretch to it, so you can turn around. You can turn around and grab it, and it'll go a long way for you. Also, you might not be putting enough paint on your brush as they are. So, a couple of different reasons for that. Alright, so distinct brush strokes. Alright, is when they're not blending into each other. No worries. Okay, so some of you do this, right? And then you wait for this to dry, right? We've done this in paintings. We've done this when we did foliage. Adding layers, right? Layering. Layering is a technique. Layering is when you put on your initial layer, like the blue. You wait for it to dry, then you put another layer on. You wait for that to dry, then you put another layer on. I teach in layers. That's all of my paint parties is layering, right? All the time. When we do mapping, we're layering, right? We're putting a coat of white, waiting for it to dry, putting color on top of it. So we do layering and distinct brush strokes a lot. A lot. So that is having your colors dry, adding on top of them, and having none of it mixed together. All right? Okay. So we do that so much. Another thing with brush strokes is then you have the brush strokes, and they call them, one name is Energized brush strokes. These are brush strokes where you're just going willy-nilly and having fun, and it blends into stuff, and it goes in all different directions, and you're doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Basically, you use these to create movement. So, energized or distinct brush strokes, you're letting them blend into what you already have. You're creating movement. You're creating fun. You're creating all these different things. You're waiting to see what comes out. One example, one painting I have that is an example of energized brushstrokes or blending brushstrokes would be this one. Now, this is Impasto. This is Impressionism. This is all sorts of things like that. This has a couple different techniques worked in. But you see how my brush strokes are creating movement and they're all blending into each other, right? You can see the impasto, see the thickness of some of the paint. All right, you can tell it's Impressionism because it's obviously of buildings, but I didn't paint them exactly. So this painting has a lot of examples of different types of technique in it. All right, so that is mixed brush strokes, and energized brush strokes, bold brush strokes. Well, I think bold would be more into the layering ones, the ones where you don't mix it into each other, but this is an example of energized brush strokes. So we do these a lot too. Lots and lots and lots and lots of fun. Okay, lots of fun. Because you don't, I do this, remember I tell you to put all the colors on your brush and let's see what happens? That's us doing mixed brush strokes. That's us doing energized brush strokes, blending brush strokes, whatever you want to call them. If you need a name for them, that's what you call it, okay? Now, you also, which we did in the painting with the flamenco dancer, is you have the crosshatch technique. And crosshatch is the X's. So that creates texture for you. And crosshatch is exactly what it means. It's when you're doing the X's, when you're doing the, these things. Like a basket. Right? Like a basket. So, and you can have these, very blatant, like you can really see them. You can see the cross hatching going on. You can see the X's going on. But you can also do this very soft where you turn around and you do, you'll see a lot of people, they're going like this. They're doing the cross hatch. So it's creating movement and texture and you're doing the X's. So this is cross hatch. Okay, and you can see all the movement and the texture in that. Okay, so when you see an artist doing this, they're doing the X's, they're doing the crosshatch. You see it a lot. You see it all the time. It's fun to do as long as you have a good wrist. You can do it very blatant or you can do it very blended. But it adds all this texture and movement very, very nicely. See that? See how pretty that is? See that? So that is cross-hatching. Lisa. Hello, Lisa. Welcome to the fam, love. So if doing a background in a crosshatch technique, is there some way to blend it? I tried it in the other day, but it's not blending well. Okay, so if it's not blending well, number one, if you're using craft paint doesn't like to blend. Just putting it out there. Number two is you might be, if it's becoming a big pile of mush, you might be using too much paint. Okay, so if it's becoming a big mush, you might be using too much paint. If it's not moving at all, your paint might be drying too quickly. So if it's not moving at all, your paint might be drying too quickly. So there's lots of reasons, Lisa, why doing the crosshatch isn't going to work for you with blending. Number one, craft paint doesn't blend well if you're using craft paint. Number two is that your paint might be too dry. Number three is you either might not have enough paint or you have too much paint. It's balance. Okay, because I could come in here right now, and since this is fairly wet, I can do the crosshatch. And, oh, another thing is you have to keep it moving. See how I just went over this real fast and then I left it alone? If I keep going over this, if I keep going over one spot, you're just going to get a big mush spot of everything kind of going together. And you're going to lose all your colors. So you have to keep it moving. So you just keep it, your brush, moving. See that? And I'm going to leave it alone. So it's all blended together and I'm not losing it. All right? So there's a few reasons on why if you're doing crosshatch, it's not working for you. I call that stick and move. Like a boxer, right? Stick and move. So you stick them and then you move into another spot. And then you stick them again and you move into another spot. That's what I call that. I call it stick and move. Keep it moving. Okay. So, now, hard and soft edging. Hard and soft edging is exactly what it is. Alright? Hard and soft edging. So, a hard edge is a hard edge. Right? You can see a definitive difference between the two sides. So, a hard edge is just that. Bam. A hard edge. You can see where the one part starts against the other part. That is called a hard edge. Alright? You are making a clear division of colors. Okay? So that's a hard edge. Soft edge is when it's not boom, straight, right? So a soft edge is basically you're starting the new color, but you're softening it into the other color. So that's a soft edge. All right, hard edge and soft edge. Pretty straightforward stuff. Okay, guys? Let's see. I wrote a list. I write a list. I'm a list person. I don't know if anybody else is a list person, but I'm a list person. And since I have my list in my hand, let's do roll call because I love you, fam. I love you guys. I just can't remember anything. Done. So, Melissa is here, and Kelly and Deborah and Tina B. Margaret and Wendy and Tammy and Ami is here, and Tina M and Kim and Alicia and Deb and Shamim and Diane, and we have Lisa. Lisa is here. So, hello, 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 everybody. You all warm my heart. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Okay. Baricello is here. Hi. Hi, Baricello. You live by your list. Me too. I have lists, I have calendars, I have all sorts of stuff. Alright, so now there is a technique called wiping. Right? So this is when you put paint on and you wipe it off. Alright? You put paint on and you wipe it off. So what that does is it creates having the color, but not having it bold. Alright, now you can just wipe it off with a dry towel. Hi, Jody. Hi, Carol. How you doing, guys? Hello, 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 Carol. Hello, 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 Jody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, there's two ways to do the wipe off, right? So, the wipe off basically, if you just want a hint of the color on there, but you don't want it to be in your face, right? So, you put paint on, and then you wipe it off. See that? That's it. Now, what I want to tell you about next is called staining, because this is kind of creating a staining technique. It looks like staining, but the way you create staining compared to the wipe off is two different things, okay? The wipe off obviously leaves the stain of the color behind. Now, I turn around and sometimes I do a wet wipe off, So I put the paint on my canvas, and then I go in with a wet paper towel or whatever you want to use, cloth, whatnot. So I just dip this in water, and then I wipe it off. So then you get the stain of the color, but it's not really there. Now, staining is applying the color that way. So staining is when you apply the color just to stain whatever you're putting the color on. Now, the thing is staining canvas isn't always easy to do because it's not very absorbent. Staining comes into, watercolor is staining. Watercolor is when you're staining whatever you're painting on. So when you're using paper, very absorbent paper, or any sort of mixed media papers like that, and you put the color on just to stain it. So wiping off is basically putting it on and wiping it off. And it does create a stained effect for when you're doing canvas. But when you're doing very absorbent things, like I said, the papers, the mixed media papers and all that stuff, you could put the paint on to where you're painting it on and it looks like this. Watercolor does this. You can do the same thing with acrylic. So you can turn around and add a ton of, now, water to your acrylic. You can add a ton of water to your acrylic, see? And you can get a staining effect. Okay, that is staining. All right, it is a step below glazing because you are just having the color absorbed by whatever you're painting it on. All right, I hope I made that clear because it can seem a little confusing. So I have a painting here that I did in oils. Again, extremely large. And it contains a lot of the techniques I just talked about. Alright, so it contains a lot of the techniques I just talked about. So I'm going to show you the whole entire painting. I'm going to move you guys back. Let me hang it straight. Moving it on back. It's a very large painting. It's a 36 by 48. Alright, and this painting contains a lot of the techniques that I just talked about. Alright? So, this is obviously, this kind of falls under the lines of surreal. I didn't talk about surreal art. Salvatore Dali was a surrealist. Surrealism is another style of painting where you express imaginative things and visions that are free from the conscious and rational control. Could you tell I just read a definition? Could you tell I just read that? So basically, it's dreamlike, fantasy, anything to do with your imagination. So this falls under surrealism, it falls under impressionism, and it has a lot of the techniques I just showed you. So I'm going to show you where it has the different techniques, okay? So right here we have impasto. See how thick it is? That's impasto, okay? And then right here, is the glazing, right? Barely there. Barely there. Okay? Then, throughout the whole painting, you see the staining or the wipe off. Okay? Some of this was staining. The blue was the staining. The orange is the staining. Okay? Then we have the wipe off. This was the wipe off. Alright, I painted the line in there and then I wiped it to get it to be see-through. Okay, so that is the wipe off. Alright, another thing is the crosshatch. the crosshatch, right? So these are the brush strokes that are blending in, and I did the crosshatch technique, right? You can see all like, they're kind of curves, but you can see like little X's, like this was crosshatch over here. So it contains a lot of the different techniques, okay? You can see a hard edge. There's a hard edge, right? We have a hard edge going on. And then you have a soft edge, right? Soft edge. It's like the blending right here. So blending, soft edge. Okay, you can see, what else is in this bad boy? There's a lot in here. You have, I don't know what else I talked about. I already forgot. The energized brush stroke. You have the crosshatch. You have the wiping. You have the staining. You have the distinct brush strokes. Okay, so that's on there. So there's a lot of different techniques in this one painting. All right, and this falls under being a surrealist because it's all based on imaginary stuff. All right, so this is a 36 by 48. Some of you will venture into painting a big canvas. I painted this eons ago. It's one of my favorites. It is one of my favorites. Notice it's not, and nothing in this thing is real, right? That's the surrealism, right? But this is not abstract. This is not an abstract painting. All right, guys? Oh, goodness gracious. All right. So, the other types of paintings is, you have, the other techniques that a lot of people do is you have stencil and stamping. That's basically straightforward, right? You have, we did that with the soup cans. We had the little square stencil to be able to use it to paint our edges of our soup can. Everybody knows what stencils are, so you put the now you don't have to use just a stencil to do stenciling. You can use all sorts of stuff to do stenciling, and you can use all sorts of stuff to do stamping. You don't have to turn around and use a stamper to do stamping. You could turn around and put paint onto any object and then stamp it on to your painting. I know a lot of people that do like circular objects and they paint the surface of something round and then push it onto the canvas. So, you know, stamping, I have a painting and I wish I had it to show you. I have no idea where it is. And I put paint on a piece of plastic and I stamped that on. So you guys can crumple up paper, put paint on that, stamp it on, see what effects you get. So stamping can be a lot of fun, and you can use all sorts of things to stamp with. And the same with stencils. Like I know a lot of people that use lace as a stencil. So they turn around and put the lace and then paint over it, pull the lace up, and it leaves this amazing design. So using all sorts of different objects, you can do stamping and stenciling. It doesn't have to be done with stamps or with an actual stencil, okay? Do you have like 1 million paintings around your home? Yes, Kim, I have 1 million paintings around my home. I'm probably sitting with over 100 to 150 paintings in my house right now. So, I have my paint party paintings, I have my gallery work paintings, I have my paintings that I sell in fairs and festivals. I have an umpteenth amount of paintings. So, another thing is collages, right? You guys heard of collaging, doing collages. Now, a lot of modern artists are doing found object collage. Those are kind of fun. So, what's a collage, right? Collage is collage is taking random objects, or maybe not so random, and piecing them together. Okay, so you're taking random objects. Hi, Cheryl. How you doing, love? Lisa says I'm having problems stashing the 20-some that I have done this year. Just started in January. Lisa, store them and then just switch them out during the holidays. That's what I do. Hi, Cheryl. How you doing, sweetheart? So, what was I talking about? Oh, collages. So collages is taking objects and piecing them all together to create a picture. So doing collage is very fun. A lot of people do collages with like stuff they clip out from magazines and paper. They do what you call decoupage, which is piecing the pieces of paper together. You could turn around. Mod Podge is a great tool to do that. Mod Podge is a type of glue, but if you buy the right kind, it dries clear, and you could actually paint over it. So if you're going to do collaging or decoupage or any sort of stuff like that, I recommend buying Mod Podge. M-O-D-G-E-P-O-D-G-E. Mod Podge. I wonder if I have a container of it just kind of sitting around. I can show you. Hold on. Let me look. I'm going to look to see if I have it. I could have sworn I just bought one. But I don't know what I did with it. Here it is. Found it. Hold on, fam. Hold on. I'm coming. Oh, I spelled Mod wrong. It's Mod Podge. I spelled it wrong. Mod Podge. So let me see what you guys are writing. So Kim, do you sometimes paint for yourself knowing you'll keep it and display it in your home? Like I always wonder if hairdressers do their own in their own time. And Cheryl said, okay, so when I paint, I don't plan on keeping it. Sometimes I display it for a while because I like it. But all my stuff's for sale. All of it. Sometimes I lose a little piece of my heart when I sell something, but I like the fact that somebody's going to be enjoying it in their home. Cheryl is frustrated. You spent 2 hours waiting on your insurance to answer the phone. I could totally understand that, Cheryl. Kim says, I've done a large collage, made it with greeting cards, family, friends, but because I feel guilty trashing them, so I made something pretty with them. That is an excellent idea. I love that, Kim. Deborah's asking, what about gouache? Have you ever tried that? It looks interesting. I never tried gouache. I keep talking about it, and I still haven't tried it yet. From what I hear, it's like working with watercolor paint, but you get a better pigment. That's what I hear about gouache. I still have not ventured into the whole gouache thing. Okay, Cheryl, plus you have tornadoes rolling through the state. Lovely, Cheryl. That prayers for you, hon. So, Mod Podge. Good for collaging. Also good for fixing a ripped canvas. Just an FYI. I use this to fix any canvases that wound up with rips in them. Because you can paint over it. And that's the cool part. Also, you don't have to use flat things to make a collage. Like I started saying before, some people use mixed objects to paint do a collage. They'll find twigs, berries, leaves, and, you know, glue them down, and you can turn around and make a found objects collage. So that is very cool. That's very cool. Okay, so I covered the different styles, and I covered most techniques. So a lot of you are doing this stuff without even knowing it. Please hit me up with your questions. I think I showed you and told you everything that I wanted to tell you about. And I'm going to show you a painting. And you let me know what you see in the painting from what I just said. We're going to do a little quiz. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. So, I'm going to show you a painting and you let me know. You let me know what you see. Okay? So, put it down here so you guys can see it. All right. Cheryl, prayers to you, and I hope everything with the weather works out. So, this one is called Cosmos. Let me back up the camera so you can see it better. And what style painting is this, guys? It's called Cosmos. So, who knows what style it is? Alright, so I'm getting lots of stuff coming in. Lisa, this is a little difference, but for a future class idea, I would love to learn to design my own rather than simply follow along classes to make a project. Just a thought. This is the hurdle. This is the hurdle you plan to tackle this coming winter. Abstract. Kim. Cheryl. No, it is not abstract. It is not abstract. I knew some of you were going to answer with abstract. It's not abstract. Because you can see different things. It's called Cosmos. So, if it was just this piece right here, this and above, that could be abstract. Okay? So from here up could be abstract. But I have this right in here. Don't yell at you. I won't yell at you. You're just learning. Why would I yell at you? Carol, Impressionism, yes. Cheryl says she sees texture. Yes. Yes. Carol, ding, 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 ding. From here up, I can totally see abstract, guys. But since I have this figure of a woman down here, we just fell into Impressionism. Texture, ton of texture. What's it called when you create texture? What's it called when you create texture? When you have globs of paint on your canvas. Anybody remember what that was called? That's awesome, Kim. Don't yell at you. I'm not going to yell at you because I expected people to say abstract with this, and that's okay. Because from here up, it is kind of abstract. So, no worries. But it does fall under Impressionism because it's the play of dance and light and colors, and also because I have this figure of a woman in there. So, what woman? You see a bird. You see a dancer. There's her head. Here's her arms. Here's her dress. So, I love it. I love it a lot. I like it a lot. That's great. Oh my God, it's absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. 6,000%. You guys are amazing. I love you. What's it called when you put thick paint on something? Remember? Anybody remember? This is very, very, very thick paint. Lots and lots of texture. So we have that was Impressionism. We have that it has texture. And it is also called Impasto. Right? Impasto. Because I have very thick paint. So that was Impasto, guys. And also, I do this thing where I'm actually creating sculpture with my paints. So I actually, some of my paintings are actually fall under being a sculpture because I add texture to it and then I paint over it. So it kind of looks like a sculpture that is a painting. It's a new technique that I've been doing, and I don't see a lot of it, and I enjoy doing it. So that is something that I do to add even more texture. So thank you so much, Carol. Appreciate that. It's my nod to reaching for the stars. So this is my nod to reaching to the stars. So, guys, Melissa and Kelly and Deborah and Tina B and Margaret and Wendy and Tammy and Carol and Jody and me and Tina and Lisa and Kim and Cheryl and Baracello and Alicia and Deb and Shamim and Diane. I've got nothing else to talk about, believe it or not. So you guys are so welcome. Lisa, you are so welcome for all the information. And I hope you learned something. And I hope there's different techniques you can try. If you guys are ever painting at home, do not be afraid to message me with any questions that you might have, because there is no dumb questions. And if you guys have any more questions, 6,000% hit me with them. All right, guys? So you're so welcome, Jody. I know it was a lot of me, blah, 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 blah. But I hope that everybody comes into their own style of painting and you have fun with it. That is the point. And maybe try some of the techniques I talked about. You are so welcome, Carol. And don't forget, same bat channel, same bat time on Friday. It's going to be a werewolf painting. Cheryl, you caught the last part and it was great. Awesome. Anybody that sends me support, you're going to get Mr. Nifties for free. Like we talked about, they're sneaky little suckers, so they do get lost. So I send them out every single time. And, you know, I love you all. And I hope that you guys got some info out of this. Good night, Kim. Good to see you, sweetheart. Thank you so much for everybody joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all of your questions. And maybe, what do you guys think? Maybe I should throw in a How To Tuesday Q&A every once in a while, every couple months or so. This way everybody has a sounding board to discuss anything that's going on with their paintings. I'm thinking it's a good idea. I'm thinking it's a good idea. Cheryl, yes, my replays are always available. I will post the link to the event page, and it'll also be available on my page under videos. Diane, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. As long as it helps everyone come into their own as an artist. That's what we're shooting for here, peeps. That's what we're shooting for. So, I'm glad the comments worked in this video, because the last one, when I was discussing supplies, it didn't come in the comments. So that's why I created this video tonight. And thank you so much for watching me tonight, fam. I really appreciate it. And on that note, I'm going to say goodnight. So this is Eve signing off for Eve's Creations Paint Party. And you all warm my heart. So have fun and go create, okay? Night, everybody.